asked, Betsy, did you ever believe your daughter? That was in the box that I had. She says, I'm making a cookie. Isn't that something? Merry Christmas. It's funny, I just read a couple articles on it.
I saw that.
Can everyone sit down? We're starting.
I don't think I need my, do I need my glasses? All right, ready? Hello, everyone. My name is Debbie Conradi. I'm David's oldest sister, or only sister, really. We have Brian, who is David's brother.
Older brother, yeah.
And we have Jimmy, who is in Australia. I want to thank everyone for coming today, especially Betsy. Where's Betsy? Betsy, please. Thank you for everything, Betsy. Betsy has been David's friend for 46 years and his soulmate, and has done so much. Bill, thank you for your woodwork.
You're a true artist. Your workmanship for the box is extraordinary, and the picture. Thank you. Lindsay, Andrea, Andrew, Kathleen, Elsa, Susan, Carly, Vicky, Kelsey, Emma, Eden, and everyone for all. Words can't describe how happy and grateful I am for you guys. Living far away, it was hard to manage David. He would always say, "I'm fine. So and so's driving me. I'm fine." Thank you for my family, Kerry, Chris, Gail, Michael, Kristen, my husband Richie for everything they did, and my sister-in-law, Lauren and Kelsey. Thank you so much for everything. For the people that live far away, our dear brother in Australia, Jim and Ellen, Keith and Claire, your love has been amazing and supportive. To Robert, Michelle, Laura, Rebecca for the music and for planting the tree, and Beth Cattleman, his best friends from growing up. You all are amazing, and if I forgot anyone, I'm very, very sorry. Thank you just doesn't say enough for how much love you have given David for all these years. Please, when you're leaving, look at the paintings outside of his, and please take a painting. I also have extra pictures in the back room for anyone to go through and take. After this service, there's going to be food in the back room, and I thank Cake Street and Alibaba for their good food. Thank you, RPI, for donating this place, because this is where David had his paintings displayed at many times. Thank you, all friends, and happy birthday, Sue. Thank you. Anyone who would like to speak after the service is more than welcome. I cannot thank you all enough, as I said, for your dedication, help, and love you have given David now and throughout the years. He loved you all dearly. It is with a heavy heart that we gather today to say goodbye to David, a person who meant so much to so many of us, but we will always be with him in spirit, or he will always be with us in spirit. There was never a dull moment with David growing up. He had a rough start. We lost our father at 37 years old of cancer, and David was only 1.5 years old. So I had a lot of help in raising David, because I was the oldest. I was all of 9. At the age of 3, he fell over in his snowsuit and fractured his collarbone. At the age of 5, he developed a very rare form of bacterial croup and almost died, and he had to have a trach to breathe. So David had a rough start. In elementary school, he wrote a letter to the President of the United States. Who that president was, I do not know. But to this day, I do not know why he wrote it or for what subject. But he did get a kind of benign letter in return. My mother never had to go to the principal for me, Brian, and Jimmy. But for David, she was there frequently. And not because he was bad, but it's because he was bored. David was a genius, and David graduated high school at 16. He got several masters and could have been anything he wanted. He was, I don't have to tell you about David, but David was David. He was very smart with lots of energy. Everyone in our house was into sports, not David. David loved his music and going to concerts and loved his artwork.
And I drove him to many of them.
And he drove him to many of them.
Didn't get to see the concerts.
As I said, there was never a dull moment with David, and everyone loved him. I just have a prayer to say. God, who is merciful and compassionate, never fails. Look kindly upon the sufferings of all mankind, the needs of the homeless, the anxieties of prisoners, the pains of the sick and injured, the sorrows of the bereaved, and helplessness of the aged and weak. Comfort and strengthen them for the sake of our Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Would you like to say something? I would like to introduce someone that has been so wonderfully supportive from Albany Medical, and he is from the Ministries of Spiritual Care Department, and his name is Michael, and he has been with us through this whole process.
I am a quiet speaker, so I shall do my best up here. I'm just going to lead, a sort of gathering, guided meditation maybe, to just for a moment as we go through this, just engage with the spirit of David here. There's a lot of energy in his artwork. You can see in the music he was interested in. And for a moment, just sort of, if you will, just like suspend disbelief, just join in, open your minds to imagination, the way that David clearly did. And so, just breathe in, take a couple breaths. There's no grade on this, just relax. Nobody's watching you. I'm looking at you, but I'm not watching you. I'm not judging you. Just take a deep breath in and exhale out. And again. And invite in or recognize David's spirit here. However you're connected, whether it was through your direct relationship or through someone you're here supporting and their memories that they've shared of David with you. And remember his expression of love. And remember witnessing David's love. Your own experience of it with him. Invite in your memories of David's compassion, or the times that you held compassion for David. Invite in his spirit of joy, his experience of joy, those times you witnessed his joy, or you shared joy with him. And David's experience of equanimity in this world, holding out his arms to all of it. Maybe the times that you had to extend your arms to him in equanimity. All the fullness of his spirit. And just let this recitation of mantra, just see it resting upon your body, or arising from within your body as the blessings from David, because we all have blessings to bestow. And David's Spirit's here with us. Just let this land upon you. You don't have to examine it. Just let it rest. May David's vibration always resound with you.
Thank you all for being here to celebrate David's life today. I'm reading this for my mom, Betsy, because she has a vocal cord disability and speaks very quietly. I met David through my dorm mate and future roommate, Andrea, in 1980 at SUNY Brockport. David's intellect, sense of humor, artistic talent, good looks, and adventurous spirit drew us to him immediately. We were extraordinarily fortunate to have befriended a big group of creative and loving friends, many of whom are here today. We are most definitely chosen family. We attended concerts together. David attended hundreds more over the years. The Rolling Stones, Grateful Dead, B-52s, Todd Rundgren, Grace Jones, and David Bowie, just to name a few. The fun times were countless, but we were always there for each other when life got tough. My brother Jeff died in 1999. David and I spent several summers together in my hometown of Ithaca in the 1980s because after 2 years at Brockport, he had transferred to close by SUNY Cortland's art program. We were very fortunate and able to sublet Cornell student apartments very cheaply for the summer. Those memories are magical and mostly include David. David adored Jeff, and when he passed away, he promised he would be my brother from then on. He certainly kept his word, and David was with me for all the major milestones in my life. I struggle to remember life without him. My children have known David since they were born. If you ask them, their first and favorite memories of him are the summer reunions that we had for many years when they were young. Our close group of college friends and many of my local friends would gather at our home each summer, and David, Andrea, and Robert would dress up, David and Robert in drag, and would perform as the Abbettes. They would dance and sing to ABBA music, and the kids would perform acts between their songs during costume and wig changes. The energy and enthusiasm that David, Robert, and Andrea had for these shows was immense. We all cherished the time we had together. There were delicious meals, campfires, sleeping in tents or the treehouse, endless laughs, dance parties, swimming, storytelling, and more love than you can imagine. David loved Alex, Kelsey, and Emma, and later my stepdaughter Samantha and my kids' partners as though they were his own family. The icing on the cake is all of my grandchildren who David adored. Over a decade ago, after David's beloved mother died, he moved here so we could be geographically close to each other again. My big circle of amazing friends quickly became his close friends. When he initially arrived, he and my sweet husband, Bill, were both a bit envious of each other. For obvious reasons, that did not last long, and David performed our marriage ceremony in 2016. David and Bill were the best of friends, and I am so thankful for all the crazy and fun times we spent together. As a testament of Bill's love for David and me, he handmade the picture frame and beautiful box that David's remains are in. Since David moved here, he had many, many health struggles. There were leg and heart issues, followed by his life-changing pancreatic cancer diagnosis. He had the extremely difficult Whipple procedure, countless chemo sessions, radiation, more heart procedures, hand and shoulder injuries, and the list goes on and on. I was bedside with him for most of it, along with many of David's other local friends. Through his health journey, David fought voraciously hard, with a steadfast will to live. He kept the most positive attitude possible under the circumstances, and he never lost his sparkle. David's unwavering faith carried him through and was such a huge part of the man he was. He loved everything spiritual and was deeply religious. Much of his beautiful artwork reflects this passion. I know this guided David, both with his health struggles and the devastating fire last year that destroyed his beloved church home. He lost a huge portion of his artwork and most of his possessions, but he leaned on his amazing network to get through and rebuild. To know David was to love him. He made so many friends in the area and always let people know if he loved something about them or their talents, and let everyone else know if he didn't. That was a Kelsey add-in, of course. David had an art show here at the RPI Chapel a while back and made many friends here. 2 of them, actually. Because of that connection, the fee for today's service was waived. Kate Street Bakery and Alibaba have provided food for our reception today at a large discount because they know David and his love for their delicious creations. I'm extremely grateful to all of you for your kindness. David was my hero and never gave up, despite terrible odds, pain, endless fatigue, and more. As we all know, he could be stubborn, extremely sarcastic, not a very good housekeeper, and sometimes irresponsible, but his kind and loving attitude and hysterical sense of humor was always at the core. David always did the best he was able to while struggling endlessly with his body. Loving someone like I did David for 45 years is an immense gift. I will always treasure the memories, his artwork, his kindness, and eternal love for me and my family. I had the sacred honor of being at his side as he took his last breath. In those last moments, he was finally physically at peace. He has now joined God, his beloved family waiting for him in heaven, especially his mother, and all the angels and saints that he spent his lifetime admiring and painting. May he rest in eternal peace and look over us all. Amen. If anybody wants to share a memory, a story, anything about David, please do so at this time. But if you could come up to the microphone, especially so our faraway friends watching virtually can hear all of these things you want to share. And here comes the Queen.
You gonna stay? Do you want me to stay? I will. Okay. I brought Carl. I'm sorry. I brought Carl out for David. Carl. We love Carl together. My story is very short. It is the origin story, our origin story, how all this happened with the friends. When I got to Brockport, I lived in a 2-bedroom suite. Betsy lived at the opposite end, down the hall on the other end. But my roommate, who none of us could live with, 3 of us tried in a 2-girl suite, and 3 of us were in one room by the end of that semester. It was horrible. But she took one look at me, just looked me over and said, "You got to come with me," and grabbed my arm and schlepped me to David. And within, he was 16, I was 18. I was 17. And, okay, you were, wait, no. Yeah, no. Oh, you before me? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know. This is new to me. Anyway, so that's how I met David. And then, the Betsy story, she left, she would come over and we would play backgammon, but she kept bringing all her shoes into the room. So by the end of the week, all her shoes were in my room. And I'm like, "You want to live with me, don't you?" And yeah, she did. And we moved off campus. The only thing I can want to say about David, because I've been crying for forever about it, there's only, if I can find it now. Of course I can't find it now. Don't fail me now. It took 3 of us to make all this happen, and I am really broken from this. Really broken. David was like my left arm. He's so deeply part of me. I don't know. Robert promises. You're out there, Robert. I know you're out there watching us.
Yes, hi, Robert.
If you don't watch RuPaul with me on Friday nights, I'm gonna kill you. Because that was our that really was a ritual for us. And David would send me so many. I used to send him these beautiful unicorn. I always figured whatever a 5-year-old girl liked, David would like. Which is really true, if you know David. So I bought them these gorgeous unicorns. They were like $10 a bath bomb. And I would watch, he would video it for me, threw it in the tub, as RuPaul is playing, in the bass, and the cats. And now I have the cats, and I love those. I took his cats, yeah, the prized cats, yeah. They're actually a repeat of our cats that Betsy and I had when we first moved off campus. I had a Hemingway cat named Dylan, and she had a Pookie who was like a calico. And that's what David's been repeating the pattern of cat his whole life. He's really been repeating that. He knows it's a good combo. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. I am beyond broken. I lost my mom. I lost a girlfriend's son. And then David was the straw. And that really, I know he suffered so much. And then I couldn't come because I'm sick and stupid COVID, and I just got out of jail June 2nd. Jail? I call it mask jail. It's true, I was in people complain about 12 months, I'm like, shut up. But as soon as I got out of mask jail, I ran to David, and then had a cyclic vomit episode and ended up missing the concert we were supposed to go to. But either way, I got to see him at least, this summer. And I hope we all can really survive this. I'm going to be crying for a really long time. And just remember, when RuPaul's on, what I'll be doing with Robert and David and beauty pageants, because we love it. Oh.
I just want to say how important David was to me. I know we're all going through this right now, but I'm a psychic medium, and without David, I wouldn't be where I am today. He always believed in me. He always believed in the things I saw. Every day I would text him and I would say things like, I can't stop listening to this. And he'd say, oh my God, me too. RuPaul bath night, Andrea, he used to send me tub videos. And half the time he'd be like yelling at me about something from the tub. So I absolutely understand where you're all coming from, whether you knew David forever or whether you knew David for 3 minutes. And I think that if you knew him for 3 minutes, he would have been able to make you laugh. And that was a real gift of his. He really could find the strength in people and identify that. And if he saw you, if he saw your soul, he loved you. And I don't know of many people that he didn't love, even people that were terrible. So I just want to say how grateful I am to have known him. And he was like a big brother to me. He was like, I don't have any siblings. He was like my soul big brother, or what I'd imagine it to be. And I want to say I love that you put Stevie Nicks in his quilt there. We went to see Stevie together, and he made sure to buy both of us a t-shirt. So I think I might make one into a pillow or something. But thank you for letting me speak. I would always tell him things that I would see in my mind or spirits that I would see, and he would paint them perfectly. Nobody's ever going to be able to do that again. But thank you for bringing him here, Betsy. And because if he wasn't here, I wouldn't have known him. So thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. You want to say something? No, you don't have to hold on to it. You can just talk.
Hi. I miss David, but everyone, I know everyone does.
Okay.
I loves me, but I really love him so much in heaven because I know he's in heaven for me. I love him so much. Send him kisses of all of us. And it's a happy family.
I have to tell you, my 4-year-old is, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think she's profoundly brilliant, and she was very prepared for David's passing. You know, I made sure to tell her that he was sick, and I was spending a lot of time with him, and then finally, when I woke up to the news that he had passed, I told Eden as I was sobbing, and she just looked at me matter-of-factly, and she said, "It's okay, Mama. He's an angel now, and he's in heaven, and he's always in our hearts." And that was it. So, but she does. She likes to sing to him. She likes to tell him stories, and usually when we're in the car, she does that with her grandmother, or my grandmother, and David now. So he is well loved by us all, even the tiny. Susan.
I'm just bringing a puppet because David would approve of anything like this that I did. He got me, and he understood. And I will say that Betsy did the same thing. I met David through Betsy about 10 years ago, I believe. And Betsy did the exact same thing to me. She grabbed me and said, "You have to meet David." And that was the start of an amazing friendship with him. And I wrote a couple of words, it won't take long, but I just said that basically it's my birthday today, as we said, and my dearest David, today being my birthday, I was thinking and struggling with the opposites of a happy, special day of the year and a heartbreaking day all together. And I was trying to figure it out, but it came to me as I have been thinking of David and all his wonderful qualities since this last sickness and his passage. He was and is my special, wonderful gift. All the many years I got to spend with him, I wish that I had known him at Brockport, because I went to Brockport, but I'm older than these guys, so I was done in, 75, I guess? No, 79. 79, and, but they didn't get there till 80, I think, right? Yes, I wish I'd known him, because I would have loved all those parties and all that stuff. I would have been right with you guys. His unique laugh, all of the wonderful ways he looked at the world, the way he expressed himself in quirky language in our conversations, his spirituality, his understanding and embrace of all peoples, all cultures, all religions, his brain and his brilliance. Sometimes when we spoke, I was intimidated because he was just, I didn't know, his brain was up there, and I was like, okay, I'll just pretend I know what the hell he's talking about, because I don't. But basically, every Friday, I'm Jewish, every Friday he loved to talk about religion. He would wish me a good Shabbos every Friday. I'd wish him one too, because he embraced Judaism as well as Catholicism. All our talks, the many friendships with everyone on Team David, the miracle of all of you everyone being so different and so diverse, and him collecting us all the way he did. He really did. He would collect people from all of his walks of life, all ages. Of course, his wonderful artwork. I was jealous of his intense productivity. He would call me and say, yeah, I was up all night long. He would work all night doing his paintings sometimes, and he would make, I don't know how many in a night, and I'd say, wow, I wish I could do that. And his irreverence, his wise-ass self, his ability to poke fun at me and everyone. I was lucky. He knew he could call on me. I felt blessed that he called on me the night that the church burned down, and I was there in a heartbeat, and I felt honored that he called me. And then he stayed at our house, and I had his forehead, pressing his forehead, and, caressing his forehead. And then he stayed with me, and then he went to Betsy, his long friend, his wonderful friend. All the good times, his birthday, my birthday, all the parties. Last summer, I said to him, I had this famous summer party every year, and I said, are you coming? And he just said, duh. He was always such a wise ass, and as Vicky said, when one time she wanted to go out and it was cold weather, and he said the weather's ass, which was that was like such a David thing to say. He just was, everything about him was just so special and unique. And even though we lost that unique piece, we didn't lose it. We didn't lose it because he's with all of us. And of course, his love for music. I can't say enough, except the time when I had him too many times in my car, because I have these blues all the time. I always play the blues. And he said, enough of that shit. That's enough of that. It wasn't his favorite genre. And I'll just say, love that story. Because that's what David would say.
All right, I would now like to introduce a dear friend of mine who has gone above and beyond for somebody she never met. The lovely and beautiful Nakia Beverly Brown. She sings like an angel, and she also helped to make the larger prayer cards and the sign as you walked in. She is an angel on earth, and I'm so grateful to her, and wait till you hear her sing. So without further ado, here's Miss Nakia.
The more I hear, the more I'm jealous of all of you folks who got to spend time with him. And I wish I got to meet him, but, listening to your stories, I feel pretty well acquainted. And I'm really honored to be part of the celebration. Amazing grace shall always be my song of praise. For it was grace that bought my liberty. I do not know just how he came to love me so. He looked beyond my fault and saw my need. Amazing grace shall always be my song of praise. For it was grace that bought my liberty. I do not know just why he came to love me so. He looked beyond my fault and saw my need. I shall forever lift mine eyes to Calvary, to view the cross where Jesus died for me. How marvelous the grace that caught my falling soul. He looked beyond my fault and saw my need. And so I shall forever lift mine eyes to Calvary, to view the cross where Jesus died for you and me. How marvelous the grace that caught my falling soul. He looked beyond my fault and saw my
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathleen Buckley, and I'm not one of the original Brockport people. I was considered an NBF for a long time. New best friend. David and I shared a love of everything Irish. He thought I knew as much about Catholicism as he did. Even though I went to a Catholic school till 8th grade, I had no idea what he was talking about. I actually started calling him the Cliff Clavin of Catholicism because he knew everything, every saint, he named all of his cats after saints. I had a lot of firsts with David's. David took me to my first ever drag queen show. He also took me to see Puddles the Clown. It was my birthday, and Puddles sang to me. And if you know who Puddles is, Puddles does not speak. So it was very special. I have been going through some difficult times, and for the past year and a half or so, I haven't been able to spend as much time with David as I normally did. And the greatest gift that he gave to me was just before he had his procedure. I said, David, I texted him because he hated the phone. I said, David, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm neglecting you. And he said, don't be silly. You have enough on your plate. And sent me the prayer hands and the hearts and the rainbows. And I will always remember how he would come in for a hug and hold it for a long time. And he called me his unicorn bubble. And so there are so many other things that I could say about David. I really loved him, and I agree with everything that everybody said. Susan, like, you know, I just loved him. And he was a pain in the butt sometimes, but I was asked to do the final prayer, and I chose an Irish prayer, funeral prayer. So this is for David, and this is for all of us as well. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Everything remains as it was. The old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no sorrow in your tone. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well, nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. Thank you.
All right, this concludes the formal portion of our afternoon. If everybody would join us for the reception and to admire David's art and take some, and also admire the t-shirt quilts that I had made for my mother. And yeah, thank you all for being here in person and virtually. And we love you, David. Love you long time. I don't know if this is still on. It is. Don't forget to sign the guest book. If you didn't, please. Yeah.